Welcome to T-Boys TV. We're back again with championship predictions. Obviously, game week 42. Obviously, we're getting even closer to the end of the season. And this week there's some games, I can't lie. But yeah, obviously we'll get into it. So obviously the first game is obviously tomorrow night, Middlesbrough versus Norwich City. Now, Middlesbrough winless in the last 3 games. Obviously, they lost to Huddersfield. Obviously, they lost to Burnley, and then obviously drew to Bristol City. They're taking on Norwich, who, they're one of them teams. Obviously, they are trying to chase and get in the playoffs come the end of the season. Obviously, their last game was a 0-0 with Rotherham, which I was surprised about. As much as Rotherham, I think they'll stay up this season. I did think with that, being a game, at Norwich, I thought they'd win it, but they didn't obviously quite do that. Middlesbrough don't have the greatest of records against Norwich, at home anyway. They haven't beaten them at home since 2014. Like I say, Middlesbrough are not doing great. Do you know what? I see this one being a draw. I'm going to go for a 1-1 in this one. Moving on to the next game, Sheffield United versus Cardiff. Now, obviously, Sheffield United trying to confirm that second place, which I do believe they will get. And like I keep saying week upon week, the reason why I do think they will get it is because I think they've got a lot of favourable games at home coming up to the end of the season. And this is definitely one of them. Taking on Cardiff, did actually predict them to lose 1-0 last week. And obviously they did to Sunderland. This one, do you know what? I actually think it'll be a narrow win for Sheffield United. I thought they would beat Wigan more than they did, but obviously it was only 1-0. And I'm going to go for them to get another 1-0. So I'm going to go over 1-0 to Sheffield United in this one. Moving on to the next one, Sunderland versus Birmingham. Now, Birmingham actually unbeaten in their last 4 games. 2 wins, 2 draws. Taking on Sunderland, who've had some crazy games, as we know. Like I said, I predicted their game right in the last load of games. So they've had a crazy 4-4 draw, which was their last game at home. Do you know what? With Birmingham, on this unbeaten run, Sunderland, a late potential chance they can get in the playoffs. I don't think they will, but they have got a late chance of maybe getting in there. I'm going to go with Birmingham to get a decent result here away at the Stadium of Light. Obviously, they're not the greatest at home this season, Sunderland. They are actually quite down there when it comes to home form. But I'm going to go for a 1-1. I have another 1-1 draw. Moving on to the next game, relegation battle, literally, Blackpool versus Wigan. Now, obviously, Blackpool, last game was obviously the defeat to Luton, obviously my team. And to be fair, we made Blackpool look good in the first half. We were just giving the ball away. Obviously, they did take the lead from a set piece. It's been a while since, we've conceded stupid set piece goals like that. But in the second half, we just stepped it up, and you can see their quality is not there this season, especially on that second goal they gave us. I'm not complaining, but it's just poor from them. They're taking on Wigan. Again, not a great side. The thing with Wigan, I said they'd finish bottom. I still think they will. The thing with them, since their new manager's come in, they've kept games tight, but, they're still not great. They're still not great. I'm going with a 1-1. It doesn't really help any side, but I do think both teams will go down, especially given how I see Blackpool play in that second half against us. And Wigan, like I said, they don't usually get battered, but they're just not good enough for this league, in my opinion. So yeah, like I said, 1-1 for me. Moving on to the next game, Millwall versus Preston. Now, this should be an interesting one. Preston can actually get into the playoffs, which is crazy. Obviously, away, they're very good. 4th best side in the league when it comes to away form. At home, they're not the best. They're actually down there when it comes to home form. Taking on Millwall, decent at home. 6th when it comes to home form. Obviously, their last home game was obviously the game versus Luton, the 0-0. Obviously, their last game in general, they did lose away to Hull, which I was surprised about. I thought Millwall would win 1-0, not lose 1-0. Taking on Preston, who, like I say, got a good away record. Obviously, their last game, they beat the worst side away from home, Reading 2-1. Obviously, that was a home game for Preston. Do you know what? I'm going to go with a 0-0. I'm going to go with a 0-0. I think it could be end-to-end, but I'm going to go for a 0-0. So yeah, that's my prediction for that one. Moving on to the next one, Reading versus Burnley. Now, obviously, Reading have sacked Paul Ince, which is gutting because I wanted to go up against him when Luton play because he disrespects us. He says we don't play football. Mate, how about you focus on your own team who are now in the relegation zone? Oh, wait, you can't now because you've been sacked. Yeah, we're third, mate. Yeah, so nonsense that guy used to say. Even when we beat him 1-0 last season, last game of the season, he was making up some absolute rubbish. So right decision in the end. The guy who's come in, he's not had any experience, for a first team. Well, I think maybe a caretaker manager. I can't remember where that was quite at. And then obviously he's had a few under 23s, I think it is, at Reading. He was a former Reading player, but they are taking on Burnley. And Burnley, obviously, as we know, are chasing the points record in the Championship and obviously trying to win the title. Obviously, they haven't officially done that yet. Obviously, they did win their last game against Sheffield United 2-0. I was very close, I said 2-1. I do think Burnley will win, but for some reason, I got a feeling it's going to be tight. I think it might be because this, not necessarily new manager bounce, but I just think the change at Reading, and they are not bad at home, to be fair, this season. So I'm going to go over 1-0 Burnley. I'm going to go over 1-0 Burnley. I think it's going to be narrow. So we will see. Moving on to the next game, Watford taking on Bristol City. Now, Watford have actually come out and said they're going to keep Wilder, flipping hell. Actually going to keep a manager. We'll see if that's like that at the end of the season. Taking on Bristol City, who did get that good, impressive 2-2 draw against Middlesbrough. I knew they'd get some sort of result. I thought they'd win. I did say 4-2. So I weren't actually far off when you think about it. Cornick done very well in that game. Fair play to him. Got a goal and an assist. And I've got a feeling, with the way Watford have been, they've got very slim chance of getting playoffs now. Bristol City, they haven't really got an awful much to play for. If they do win this, they will go same level on points with Watford. I just got a feeling Cornick's going to score. I really do. Agent Cornick, our players have been doing agent stuff. Especially Matty Pearson at Huddersfield. He scored against Watford, and yeah, you all saw the kickoff at the end of the game. I'm going to go for Bristol City win. I'm going to go 2-1 Bristol City. I'm going to back them to get an away win at that place. Yeah, that's all I'm saying. Anyway, moving on to the next game. QPR versus Coventry. Now, QPR, to be fair, did get a 2-2 draw against West Brom after going 2-0 down as well. So that's not a bad point, and it could be vital come the end of the season. Obviously, they are in the relegation battle. The downfall they've had this season has been a madness. Taking on Coventry, who, not doing great recently. They're still in a chance to get playoffs. I think this is a good time for Coventry to bounce back and get a victory. Obviously, they were 2-0 up against Watford. Watford were 2-0 up and they come back. I'm going to go with Coventry to win this one. I'm going to go for 1-0. I'm going to have a narrow 1-0 victory for Coventry in this one. Moving on to the next game, Rotherham United versus my team, Luton Town. I will be going to this game. Here is my ticket. Come on. I will be going to this one. Obviously, the last time we played Rotherham was obviously the 1-1 draw. Mick Harford obviously took charge of that game. Obviously, that was when Nathan Jones left to go to Southampton. And we were quite lucky in that game. I can't lie. We scored literally right at the end of the game. How am I feeling going into this one? I'm feeling confident. We're just high flying. We haven't lost since February, which obviously that was to Burnley as well. We're very good away. Third best side in the league away. So yeah, I'm confident, man. Rotherham, I do think they will stay up. But I think it's a game we'll win. Just the way the momentum we've got right now, I think we'll win it. As for a score prediction, I do think it'll be tight. I'm going to go over 2-1 to Luton. I'm going to go over 2-1 away win. A lot of people will probably go 1-0, which obviously is the popular prediction. We do love a 1-0. But I do think Rotherham might get one. But in the end, our quality will shine through. So yeah, 2-1 for me. Moving on to the next game, Stoke City versus West Brom. Now, West Brom have a late chance, another team that has a late potential chance of getting into the playoffs. Obviously, a bit of a disappointing result for them against QPR, especially given they were 2-0 up. They're taking on Stoke, who were on good form, but then recently it's dropped off a little bit. Obviously, lost to Bristol City on the Easter Friday, and then obviously lost on the Monday. Drew on the Monday to Birmingham. I'm going to go over 0-0. I'm going to go over another 0-0. I think there might be a few 0-0s this week. And I'm going to go over another one. A weekend, shall I say. And then moving on to the next game. Swansea City versus Huddersfield. Now, Huddersfield will be gutted in their last game. You know, could have won it. But Blackburn got a late goal. I was gutted because I said 2-1 Huddersfield. They're taking on Swansea, who, you know, obviously not overly great this season. Did win their last game. Perot getting a double away at Wigan. I'm going to go over draw. I'm going to go over 1-1 draw. And I do think if Huddersfield do get at least a point here, I think they've got a very good chance of staying up. So, yeah, I'm going to go over 1-1 in this one. And then moving on to the last game. Blackburn Rovers versus Hull City. Now, Blackburn obviously trying to get into the playoffs come the end of the season. Taking on Hull City, who haven't really got too much to play for, just playing for pride really now at this sort of stage of the season. They did win their last game, like I said. Impressive win, to be honest, against Millwall. Blackburn, you know, they're very hit and miss. They're very inconsistent. I'm actually going to go over Hull win. I can't lie. I'm going to go over 1-0 away win for Hull City in this one. So yeah, they are my predictions for game week 42 of the Championship. Do let me know your score predictions down below in the comments. Don't forget to smash a like on the video if you haven't already. Do subscribe to the channel if you are new with the notification bell on. If you do want to follow me across any of my socials, link to them are in the description. And yeah, subscribe to my other channel as well, T-Boys TV Extra. And until next time, take care and peace.